Wow. Well, I have a lot to go over, and a lot to do, but I think the thing that I at least want to get out there the most, not really the most, no, I don't know what I'm saying, but the first thing I'm going to go over is my drunkenness notes. Because why not be controversial-ish? Not really controversial. Go not along the normal path on my first official real video. Why not? Well, as you can tell, I have a lot of notes and a lot of things about drunkenness. And, oh man, why am I doing this? This is horrible. Wow, okay, well, here's what the Bible says. Okay, first, before anything, like, take yourself out of your culture. Take yourself out of your own personal subjective worldview. Take yourself out of how you were raised, how you want things, and how you want to see the world. I'm sorry, I'm going to be as blunt as I can. Doesn't matter what you think. Doesn't matter what you agree on, what you think is real, what you don't think is real, what you think is right, what you think is wrong. Does not matter. What matters is what God says is real, what He says is truth, what He says is lies, and what He says is how you're going to have to live, and what you have to take is the honest truth and the honest way to live, and you just got to take it and go, because you can't be the kind of person that's like, oh, well, I'm going to nitpick, or going to be like, well, that's not how I interpret it. Who cares how you think and interpret it? Because that's not going to be right. And I know it's like, it's wrong for me to say that because I could be reading it the way I want to read it, but, like, what I mean on the most, like, basic scale, at least just leave it this easy, is that if the Bible says something about it, you can't negate it. You can't say, like, oh, it's not there, or the Bible never even talks about that. It talks about some stuff. And you gotta be blunt with yourself and say, like, okay, it talks about it. Now let me actually try to interpret it. And not just like interpret it, but just be like, sometimes it's just plain as day. And just stop trying to nitpick and make it fit into what you think your world should be. That's why we still have a God, man. Okay? He is gonna say what's right, what is wrong, whether you agree with it or not. You're gonna have to live by it. And it's just like saying, like, oh, well, I don't think it's right, but you live under the rules. It's like being in America, you got your president and legislation and everything that you are ruled under in your state. Well, whether you agree with it or not, you're under its ruling. You're under its direction. You can just not do it, but you're gonna get cited for it, and no matter what, you live under it, even if you decide to just put it in the back of your mind or not. So do the same thing with God. Wow, let's see, how far am I in this video already? 4 minutes in this video. Yes. Well, why am I doing this? This is horrible. There's a lot of verses, Old and New Testament, that talk about drinking. One, drinking, fine. Alcohol, fine. Getting drunk. Now, that's when the Bible tells us that draws the line. How I interpret it, which I hope, I try to explain this to somebody that they, this is how I see it. If you're not under the influence of the Spirit and of God, you're under the influence of something else. If you're under the influence of something else, either that's like another idol, or that's just wrong itself. If you're not influenced or under something or someone, something other than God. And you see that's the problem? So if you're under the influence, as in alcohol, why do you think that's okay? Why do you think God thinks that's okay? not. Oh man, I think I'm just gonna make a video about how I. Okay, I'm just gonna forget about the whole drunkenness thing. Okay. Wow. Um, here's how I feel about God's direction, and this is how I understand it, and I believe it is actually should be interpreted and is the way I'm gonna say it. I know we've heard it many times. God is like a parent. He's gonna give you directions, whether you like it or not, but it's for the best. They've gone through it, like your parents gone through it. They know what you're up to, they know what you're thinking, they know what's around you. I know it changes depending on generation and stuff, but it's basically the same thing. And with God's direction and commandments and laws and stuff, it's more of him saying, okay, you know what? Yes, second covenant, yeah, okay, we don't have to follow it for our salvation, but it's more of God saying like, dude, I love you, and if you want to have the best life, easiest life, well, easy, I guess we'll explain easy in a second, then you follow these directions because I love you and I want you to not have to go through some struggles that are a lot longer struggles and a lot harder than you trying to make sure you do the right thing. And it's more for your benefits, more for your health. Like, okay, you don't have to do it. It's not based on works, yada yada yada. I know, but I mean, you don't have to. You don't have to follow these rules. But if you want to live prosperously, you want to live healthy, you want to live happy, you want to live well and long, and the Bible does say long, and all that stuff, then you follow what God says. You follow His direction, you follow His commands, you follow, dare I say, the law, and I will probably explain this in another video. Wow, this is a lot of what I believe. But, what was I going to say? Because, now this is where trust comes in. Your faith, trusting in something. It's as if you follow those things. And if I'm like, let's just say, for example, I'm in a relationship and I'm like, I really love this person. How can I show my love? Okay, you know, I'm going to keep this PG. I could get to know them, as the Bible says. Make myself known to him, make himself known to me. But the Bible says, dude, like, better marry that person, because that's supposed to represent you and God, like the church and God. But let's just say, okay, so the Bible says don't do that. Well, um, I guess you want to, or whatever, and you're like, I don't see the problem. Why does it not hurt? Um, if I don't do this, oh, here we go. This is weird. If I don't do this, then he's gonna break up with me. She's gonna break up with me. She's not gonna like me. He's not gonna like me. Whatever your excuse is. Well, if you don't have faith and trust that God's gonna give you a prosperous life and God's gonna bless the relationship, if you don't do this, which is following His commands, then where's your faith? You're not trusting that God's gonna pull through. You're not trusting that this relationship will be mended or make it through this obstacle. Your faith is not there. So with these commands that God gives us, it's more of a way for us to tell if we have faith or not. I'm going to trust that what the Bible says in science is true. There's my faith. There's my action. I'm not going to question it. I'm going to follow it and take it as it is. That is showing my faith. That is my works. That is my fruit, I guess you could say. Because of the commands and laws and the direction of God and His Word, I'm not going to question it. Even if it totally seems like it doesn't matter, or like it doesn't change anything, or I don't see how it's beneficial, or it's good, or I don't see how this is right, deal with it. I kind of went over that a little bit in the very beginning of this video. And as soon as you get that and understand that, dude, your life will be great. And oh man, this is like going to be another complete video. Well, look up the video about fearing God. I'm probably going to have a video about that. Why does the Bible say fear God? One of the two most common phrases in the Bible, and somebody told me this, and ever since I've been reading the Bible, I've been circling and highlighting where it says this, and yeah, it says this a lot. Do not be afraid. Do not have, don't be afraid. Do not be afraid. Kind of like what the angel said, with to the shepherds during Christmas or whatever. That same phrase, Old New Testament, mentioned so much. You know what the second most common phrase that I've read and seen so far and highlighted the most in my Bible is fear God. Fear God. Okay, I'm afraid of him. That's not what it means. I'll get that in another video. Well, not what I thought this was gonna be, but hope you got good stuff out of this, and if you're actually watching this, maybe you can just comment on it or message me and just tell me how you feel, because I would love to know that, and that's how I feel. So much to say. Wow. Well, there it is. So, grace and peace.